we are back with more regular Show the Lost tapes. We've taken a look at the first 3 episodes, and we're going to take a look at episodes 4 and 5, which currently are the last episodes available, but apparently we're getting 3 more episodes very soon. So be sure to subscribe and stick around so you guys can check out my review of those episodes. But this is actually a great set of episodes right here, and I can definitely see these being some fan favorite episodes. So we have the episodes Coffee Shop Wars and Boba or Bo Bust. So far, episode 5, the Boba episode, is actually my favorite episode of the whole series, and I can't wait to talk about that episode. But first we have Coffee Shop Wars, which is actually an episode all about Margaret and Eileen. And at first I had mixed feelings on an episode all about Margaret, but it's actually a really fun episode, and I really enjoyed the dynamic between Margaret and Eileen, and they did a good job taking the spotlight for this episode. So the episode begins with Mordecai and Rigby at the coffee shop as usual. Rigby kind of gives a backhanded compliment.
The coffee is extra middle of the road today.
Thanks.
I'm not sure what to get out of this comment, but this is where we get introduced to a brand new character named Valencia. Valencia barges in with free samples, and it basically distracts everybody. Even Mordecai and Rigby fall in love with this free sample. Even Rigby is crying from how much he loves it. And this free sample is a fusion food, which is a combination of donuts and coffee. It looks like she just poured coffee on the donuts, but you know, they still seem to love it though. However, this makes Eileen immediately suspicious, maybe a little bit jealous of her appearance as well, but Margaret was pretty chill with her and tried to introduce herself. But Valencia does not give a damn. She is only here to compete against them by having her own establishment to basically run them out of business. So she opens a pop-up shop called Hot Brown right in front of the coffee shop, which is crazy. But this is where the cops show up, and they ask her for a permit, which she actually does not have. But after the cops take a free sample, they love it, and they actually give her a free building to build this new establishment. It's like that one scene where Muscleman was speeding, but the cop thought that was awesome, so he just got away with it. This is basically the same situation. But yeah, even Mordecai and Rigby are such huge fans of Hot Brown. They're completely swagged out and they're in line for some Hot Brown. Although I will say they aren't as swagged out as they were in the Cool Bikes episode. They are never gonna top that. We also do get to see a bunch of background characters. This guy looks like Jimmy, even though Jimmy was in heaven in the first episode. I don't know if this was before Jimmy died and went to heaven, or if this is just some look-alike. And speaking of look-alikes, this guy looks identical to that one guy in the Wrap It Up episode. I just found that interesting. But yeah, going back to the episode, we get to see Margaret and Eileen enter the Hot Brown building, and the building is actually a safety hazard because this guy right here falls through the floor. I also just rewatched this, and the girl standing next to him doesn't even care. She just nonchalantly steals his donut. That better be a good ass donut. And this is where Margaret and Eileen get their disguises. Margaret just has a pair of sunglasses, kind of like how Clark Kent just wears glasses to disguise himself. This is where they try to sneak a bite of a dough dunk, but one of the people that works there catches them. And this is where they confront Valencia. They take off their disguise, and Valencia is pissed off to find out about this. I love this one frame right here with how Valencia is animated. For some reason, after they get kicked out, somebody throws them a bag of dough dunks. I guess they're old, but Margaret and Eileen still take a bite of them to get a taste, and yeah, they love it. So now they have the bright idea of making their own fusion food to compete with this. So they take a culmination of breakfast, lunch, and dinner and make this giant log of food that looks disgusting. But Valencia is actually watching them through a camera, and this is where she asks the chef to steal the recipe so they can remake it. And after the chef refuses, this is what happens.
No, not the industrial dishwasher!
Yeah, this guy screams, "Not the industrial dishwasher," and then gets burned alive, and you can see his skeleton. I am really glad that they're bringing back these unhinged scenes, because in the classic series, so many people would just explode and die and stuff. So yeah, it's really funny to see this. Easily one of the funniest moments in the whole show. But going back to Margaret and Eileen, after they apply a finishing touch, this portal opens and it sucks them in. This introduces them to the goddesses of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But there's also the goddesses of fusion food, and they basically had to pick a side.
We do only make minimum wage.
And honestly, Margaret makes a good point here, but they still have their minds in the right place, and that is saving the coffee shop. So they decide to go back to the traditional food. But with this decision, they had to destroy all the fusion food that they created. So they get teleported back in the real world. We have this massive food fight between the goddesses, and this is where Margaret and Eileen trash the kitchen by destroying all the fusion logs, and also Valencia tries to steal it. it. But Eileen throws like a flaming chicken sandwich or something and it sets everything on fire. But there is one food log left. So this is where Margaret and Eileen split the sandwich in half and they actually try it themselves. And as I expected, it tasted terrible. It even made like fart noises when they ate it. And I will say the animation kind of questionable here, but this scene only lasts a couple seconds. That scene was so short that you probably missed the animation. The rest of the episode looks completely fine, by the way. It's just that one scene right there that looks a little strange. But yeah, I guess everybody notices how nasty that fusion food was. So everybody turns their backs on Valencia. Even the police come back and arrest her. So yeah, Hot Brown is basically non-existent now. And the coffee shop is basically back to normal. We get to see Margaret and Eileen summarize everything to Mordecai and Rigby. You also do get to see the workers in the background. They seem to actually just be enjoying themselves. But yeah, I think this final scene right here is pretty cool. Mordecai and Rigby look like their season 1 counterparts, which is pretty cool. And that's basically the whole episode. Definitely a top 3 episode for me. I think I still enjoyed Nap Spot more than this episode, but this episode was also pretty great. And I do appreciate the spotlight on Margaret and Eileen. I do hope the show continues to make Margaret an interesting character. And now we have my favorite episode so far, and that is Boba or Bobust. It is just such a funny episode to me. The whole episode basically stems off the same joke. You're either gonna love it or hate it, honestly. Like if you didn't find the joke that funny, you're probably not gonna like it, but I think it is so funny. But the episode begins with Muscle Man finally making a my mom joke.
My mom!
That was honestly all that was missing from the Nat Spot episode, so I'm happy we finally got that. But back to Mordecai and Rigby, their job is to restock the snack shack because all the snacks are expired, and this is where they try to look for new snacks. So they try some free samples, but they don't like anything they try. But this is where they come across Boba, and they absolutely love it. They are tweaking off that Boba, and yeah, they fill the entire snack shack with Boba, and that does piss off Benson, but he does give it a try still. And this is where it all begins.
Why are there balls in my mouth?
He immediately throws it up and says, "Why is there balls in my mouth?" So after watching this scene, I immediately realized that they made this entire episode just to make balls jokes, which is the most JG Quintel thing ever. So I'm sure you guys can see why this is my favorite episode, just based on how many ball jokes we're gonna hear. Honestly, when I saw the Boba in the promotional artwork, I should have immediately expected ball jokes. They made so many ball jokes in the classic series. But yeah, I am so happy they made Mordecai and Rigby like Boba, probably just for the sake of making this joke. I respect it. But yeah, going back to Benson, he's pissed off. He wants them to sell all the Boba or they're fired, as he always says. So this is where they try to sell the Boba. Mordecai even says that it's a drink with balls in it to try to sell it.
Wanna try some boba? It's a drink with balls in it.
But nobody's interested. Well, there is actually one guy that is willing to try it, and this guy has a really funny accent. I love it. And this guy has the exact same reaction as Benson.
Why are there balls in it?
But yeah, the whole joke is basically the same gag, but I think it's really funny. So now they have the idea of having a mascot to promote the Boba for them. And what better mascot than Pops, who literally has a ball-shaped head. Yeah, unfortunately it still doesn't work. And after all this work, Pops is dehydrated, so he tries the Boba for himself. And this is where the most insane thing happens, I swear.
You're speaking to Boba Casanova.
I did not expect this at all whatsoever. So initially it makes him feel lightheaded and he falls over, and then he begins to flop like a fish. But then this happens. He completely transforms into a character named Boba Casanova. Also, after rewatching this has to be an actual parody of Jim Carrey's The Mask. There's no way this is not a parody. The way Pops just immediately changes into this whole character like The Mask. And pretty much every scene with this character is the most over-the-top excessive stuff I've ever seen so far from the series. And it actually makes everybody interested in trying Boba. So they actually end up selling a bunch of Boba from Pops, promoting it. They even went out of their way to make a whole song for Boba. And yeah, everything is going great here. Even like the Power Rangers appear to get some Boba. So yeah, they make a bunch of money off of this. But this is when Pops de-transforms, and he's in a really bad state after being Boba Casanova. He even says he got a little footloose, which is an awesome reference. But this is where Benson is pissed off. He wants them to sell more Boba. So now Rigby is trying to be the mascot. There's this one scene where he's like Boba Boba and then gets drop kicked. And then after this, they both pepper spray Rigby, which is crazy. I love this one phrase frame right here. I feel so bad for Rigby. But thankfully, after Pops got some rest, he is completely back to normal. And he wants to help them sell more boba. So he goes back to Boba Casanova and the whole thing happens again. But there is one super weird scene right here where his shirt gets ripped off. And yeah. It gets weird. I thought they were already pushing the boundaries with all these ball jokes, but then you see this. What am I supposed to say about this? As they are right about to sell their last batch of boba, Pops has some kind of heart palpitation, and he is in his worst state possible. But Pops is so adamant in helping them that he actually takes another boba. But this is where we get a cutaway to Japan, where the Power Rangers are fighting a giant monster. But suddenly the Power Rangers promote the boba to the monster, and now the monster wants to try it. So the monster travels all the way to the USA to look for the snack shack. And while the monster is on the brink of destroying the entire snack shack, Rigby releases the entire last batch of boba right into the monster's mouth. And we hear the classic line once again.
Why balls in it?
And the monster flies away. So they do successfully sell all the boba, but Pops looks even worse and the whole place is destroyed. So the money probably won't even make up for all that damage. And that is the end of the episode. Yeah, this was a great episode. It was all over the place. There was just pure chaos the whole episode, which is exactly what you expect from regular show. I also do find it interesting how Mordecai and Rigby got a free sample of boba. Whenever I saw the promotional poster with like the boba in their hands, I totally expected Margaret and Eileen to get them into that by like making it for them and stuff like that. But I was completely wrong about that. And honestly, I love the outcome of this free sample turning into all of this. I can see this episode going both ways for people. It's either the best episode or like the grossest with how much they throw up the boba, or annoying even. But for me personally, I think it's the best episode so far. And yeah, that is all the current episodes of regular show The Lost Tapes. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it below. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the flip.